All my youngins that's going the 304 route, baby, if you gon' ho, okay? Think big.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Just a Girl Show. My name is Jenny, and if you are new here, if you're new, of course, hit the subscribe button. Make sure notifications are on so you never miss an episode. And if you are a subscriber, welcome back to the channel. So y'all, today we're going to talk about a woman's get out of free jail card that we tend to use religiously when we don't want to have to really take accountability for our actions. We will use the I was young. That's our go-to. I was young. When I did that, I was young when I did that. Like, I didn't know no better. Like, you were 29 when it happened. You were not young. You knew better. But that's a way to not be accountable for our actions. And I'm going to drop a clip. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about it.
I want to be able to make sure you clear the air because, again, a lot of people did think he gave you an STD.
He did not give
okay,
me.
so we want to make that clear.
He never gave me an STD.
Okay, so I'm glad we made that clear.
Yeah.
A lot of people ran with the story that you saw him having sex with another woman in the house.
I would be in this chair right now if that. Yes. No, I respect Chad, and at the end of the day, we're still a family. Like, no matter what things happen, nobody's perfect, and I'm not here to judge him because I've had, infidelity.
Women
They're gonna choose. It happened to me. I did it to someone when I was in my younger days. So, things happen. We were going through a rough patch. But instead of like leaning on someone else, we should have came closer and spoke on it.
So we all saw Chad and Sharelle, their like internet situation with the breakup a couple months ago. And I think the way that she handled herself was not the best. I think it was very immature. And on that interview with Carlos, they did say she did acknowledge that she was wrong and she was angry. And I get that, right? You say things out of anger. But it's like, come on. That's when we act like children. And at that point, you're going straight to being a child because we get emotional. We get upset. Cool. Okay. But we're going to talk about the fact that when it came down to her talking about her cheating on her ex-husband, it was I was young when I did that. I cheated in my younger years. Like, you were 30 in your 30s. She's 37. You've been with Chad for about, 3 years? So you were in your 30s. Well into your 30s, you were a mother and a wife. Why do we have to always throw in the I was young thing? That's always when it comes down to having to, like, you're trying to make sense of what you did by using the I was young card. Like, that's how it goes. It's like, I did fight my boyfriend, but I was young. Like, it's always like I'm telling you what I did, but I'm going to also let you know that I was throwing an I was young card because that's going to, like, I guess, soften the blow. And in reality, it really doesn't. I think it makes us look like, when do I actually just take full accountability? When do I just say, you know what, I did cheat on my ex-husband? So I understand what it would be like to hurt somebody. And I don't like how it made me feel. So I now understand how it might have made my ex-husband feel. But we kind of like don't just go with a full accountability. We go with the slight accountability, and then I throw in the I was young. And then most people give us a pass. That's like that's our get out of jail free card in reality. It's like always going to be the I was young, I didn't know any better, it is what it is. And I think it's just very hypocritical because women don't give men the same pass. I'm not saying that we have to be equal and the same, don't get me wrong, but men don't get to just use I was young at any age. They have to be held accountable. They can't just be like, well, I can't take care of this baby. I was young. Because when they say that I was young, I messed up with my child. I didn't know better. They don't get grace. Women will dog them out all the way through and through. They never get to be young when they make certain choices. But we as women always want that same. We want that grace. We don't want to be able to fully step into our stuff. And like I said, we're saying this stuff when you're 45 times that you did when you were 37. You were not young. You were very much a grown woman. And it's like one minute you want to be a grown woman and you want to do grown woman things, but next minute you want to act like you get accountability of a child. And that's not fair, because there's a lot of things that women do and they're so grown. They're so grown when it comes to having kids, or whatever they want to wear, doing whatever they want to do. You can be grown. Nobody can tell you nothing. But then when it comes to having to own up on your mistakes and your bad choices, it's like, well, I did, but I was young. And I just want women to know that it doesn't change anything. It doesn't make you look better when you say that you were young. In fact, it actually makes you look worse when people find out, like, girl, you were not young. You're grown. I think people would prefer for you to just fully take accountability and not try to use it as a scapegoat. Because it's tired. It really is tired. And it's like, what are we as mothers, because she's a mother, what are we as mothers teaching our kids about our choices? When do we stop being young is the question. When do we stop being young? When do we fall? Because people do it all the time. Like, it's like no matter what, they're going to find. And when you find out people age, it'd be like, hold on. You said 2 years ago you did it. You was not young. So the question is, really, when do we stop being young? Really? We make conscious decisions. So when you were grown enough to go cheat on your husband, you were very grown. I'm a grown woman. I could do whatever I want. But then you were young when you did it. What? How did that don't even make sense? You was grown when you did it at that time, but now that you out of it, you were young when you did it. Like, you see how hypocritical that can be? How much actually that it is? It's hypocritical. And I think sometimes what happens is no one catches it because everybody just lets it go on. Everybody. Our kids follow up with it. They're like, Mom, when I was young, I ain't know no better. How long can you let a person be young? And for women, it's like forever. We can, as long as we can throw in, I was young, that can be whatever. And that can, and unfortunately, y'all, we use this all the time when it comes to our choices as men. And our choices on how we use our body. We get to use that too often, and it's becoming a crutch. And it's just taking away our elevation as women, because I get to just go out there and sleep around and be like, well, I was young. I go out there and just pick bad men and say, well, I was young. You keep picking the same men over and over and over again. You can keep saying that you're young. No, you're not. That you were very much a grown woman, like you always say, and you made a grown woman choice. It just was a poor choice. It was a poor choice. You were, and you know what I'm saying? So we had to move away from that. But again, we can't, because everybody does it. And everybody gives women a pass to do it because that's their get out of jail free card. So we're not really fully holding ourselves accountable. We're not really accepting our wrong, in my opinion. Like, she said it, but it was still like, just make sure you know, just so you clear, I was young. So I don't want to have to fully be accountable. I don't want to have to fully, like, don't look at me like I'm crazy. I was young. That's literally how people are saying it when they say that. Don't look at me like I'm crazy. It's like, no, sis, I'm just looking at you like a human being. I'm looking at you as a grown woman that you are. And it's like, come on. Come on. And I think, like I said, even with the situation between her and Chad and how she handled herself online and the whole, like, you know, STD thing. And again, she was upset, and I get it. But I think that's kind of, at some point we expect to elevate and mature. As I said in my last video, we expect for women to mature and not do certain things, but we can't help it. And I hope and pray that in another 5 years, she doesn't get to use that same, I was young when I did that story. But if I was a betting woman, I think that she would, because that's what women do. It's like, why would you do that? Remember that time when you did that? Like, yeah, girl, I did that. I was young, though. I didn't grow up. And it's like, you were younger. You are not young, though. Like, we got to differentiate young and younger. You were younger, but you are not young. You are very much a grown woman. You are not a young woman. You are a grown woman. That's why they have a young woman. She's in her early 20s. She's younger. And so I just, again, like I said, I think about us as women, how it is beneficial for us to fully take accountability and not try to use any crutch or any way out of it if we want to really make change in our behaviors. Because I think, not saying that she would do this again because I don't know her or anything about, her, but I think when women don't fully take accountability, they don't really, are you able to really move forward and never do that again? Ever do it again? If you, because you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just feel like that plays a big factor in my opinion when it comes to accountability. When you tippy toe around it, accepting it fully, and your ability to not do it ever again in life. Because when you're like, well, I mean, I did it, but I was young. Like, I'm not fully trying to take accountability in a way that I made the conscious decision. It's like I'm saying, like, well, it wasn't me. Like, I was young. My friends manipulated me into it. No, it was all on me. Now I'm going to own it and I'm going to move forward. But if I'm trying to put blame on somebody else, other things, I'm bound to potentially do it again. Because I don't really think that it was on me. That's just my opinion on this particular topic. And I think, like I said, it's becoming, it's being burnt out, y'all. Every time we see this stuff, every time these conversations come up, and when women are, or put in front of the, the fire to be held accountable, it's always the same old. You can watch multiple interviews with women talking about their past or what they've done, and they always use that. They use that. But like I said, when you're doing it and it's going well for you, they don't care about being young. You don't think about that when people tell you that you shouldn't be out here doing this with men and having a bunch of kids. They'll be like, I'm grown, I can do whatever I want. But you wasn't young then, huh? When you was 18 years old having a bunch of kids. You wasn't young. You was grown then. You were grown then. And that's the problem. So we want to pick and choose when we want to be grown and when we want to be young. Again, want to be treated like an adult, but have accountability of a child. You can't do both. You can't be a child and a grown woman at the same time. You can't. If you really want to get to your fullest potential, if you really want to be the woman that you say you dream of becoming, you got to be fully step into her and own everything that comes with that. Everything that comes with it. Really hope her and Chad can work things out. Honestly, I do. But I think, as she says, she's going in therapy and they're working through things and figuring things out. Cool. But I hope and pray that when you are on a journey of healing and taking responsibility for your actions and the things that led to certain things being made, decisions being made, you got to fully accept it. You got to fully accept it. So let me know in the comments, though, what y'all think about this topic. Like, when do women stop being young? What is the cutoff? When can you stop saying, I was young? Give me an age in the comments. Drop it down below and let me know. Because I really want to know what is too old to still be saying that you were young. Because I think, let me think. Hold on. Like, if you're 25 saying you were young, you could say that because you were before 25. But if you are 35 saying that something that you did when you were 27, you wasn't young. But let me know in the comments what y'all think. I'm trying to think, like, I think that sounds good. Like, yeah. 25 and older, if you did anything after you were 25, you were not young. Okay? But anyway, y'all, be sure to subscribe to this channel, of course. Hit that thumbs up button. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode. Bye.